Hello, my name is Tony. Welcome to part 4. This is titled Energies and the Humans. In the last video we were looking at natural laws 3 and 4. In this one we will be looking at number 5, but keeping to the same thing of looking at it through this Mycenae ball. A theme that will run through this is the whole feature of if you want to study the human, study the universe. And if you want to study the universe, study the human. I hope you enjoy this video.
Let's have another look at the spiral going down the muzzle of the bull. In the 19th century, it was discovered that if a magnet was spun around inside a coiled wire, it would induce electricity to flow in the wire. This is the fundamental principles of dynamos, and it helped create a whole industry because the reverse is also true, that if an electrical current is passed through a coiled wire that has a magnet in the center, it will cause the magnet to spin around, and this is the fundamental principle of the electrical motors. So if a power station has a big dynamo at its heart, it can power lots of electrical motors inside things like vacuum cleaners, fans, fridges, etc. This is an example of the law of 5. A spinning action can induce power or force or influence, and power can cause spinning. The rotating of a propeller can cause a plane or ship to go forward, and the wind can cause the windmill's blades to rotate. Symbolically, 4 is shown as a cross. So to show a spinning cross, sometimes lines are added to show direction, as in this Persian swastika, made about 3000 BC. Other ways to show a spinning cross are a straightforward circle or a spiral. All of these can be used to symbolically represent the law of 5. And of course, the pentagram is also a symbolic representation of the law of 5. There's a nice little phrase of 5 powers 4, and 4 gives meaning to 5. It's not that 4 things make the law of 4. It's more to do with the fact that things are made up of elemental components, and when they react with each other, i.e. spin, they draw in a force for them to be able to do more than the sum of their parts and become enlivened. And equally, if there is nothing for 5 to enliven or enlighten, what would be the point of 5? Looking at the planet from the sun, we would see the moon spinning around the earth. The moon's elemental components could be described as full, waning, new, and waxing. Because the 4 elements are spinning, they bring in, by vortex induction, fresh force or influence from the planet. This brings into play the number 5. However, because the moon is not very developed, it can only suck in low-grade emotions like sentimentality. I have found monitoring my energy levels at different phases of the moon very interesting. The spring moon and the harvest moon can be very draining. Looking at the sun from Sirius, we would see Earth spinning around the sun. One of the elemental component groupings of the planet could be described as spring, summer, autumn, winter. And again, by vortex action, it can draw in new influence from the sun. Again, this gives the number 5. Planet Earth is much more developed than the Moon, and therefore what it can take from the sun is much greater and finer. The elements of the Moon are described in terms of the 4 phases. The elements of the Earth are described as the 4 seasons, and with the sun they are described as the 4 tribes: bull, lion, eagle, snake. With this understanding, noting which of these tribes turn up in sculptures or paintings or folklore can give clues as to which tribe of the sun a particular civilization was most influenced by. Also, statues of beings with a sun disk over their head would be saying that they are carrying a sun level or higher influence. Just as sculptures or images of humans with halos around their heads would be saying that this person has a sun level process going on in their heads. Of course, whether it would be true or not is another question, but that would be the implication of a halo. This can help us understand that finenesses of energy can be put against levels of the universe and the human design. Star level, very, very high. Human equivalent, spirit. Sun level, very high. Human equivalent, mind. Planet level, high, rich and full. Human equivalent, soul. Moon level, moody. Human equivalent, body. This bull could also be looked at against the human design, where if the 3 stars on the forehead represent the brain, conscious, semi-conscious, unconscious, then the spiral would be the spine, with the 2 snakes representing the blood systems, arterial and venal, going back into the brain. In the last video, we looked at this bull in universal terms and suggested that a return journey was possible. However, looking at it from the human design, it does bring up an important consideration. Just as the brain is protected by a membrane to stop toxins from the lower processes in the body getting into the brain, would the universe also protect itself from the lower levels of energy getting back into itself? So maybe we should look at the snake as some kind of filter system. This could be one reason for embarking on a journey of personal development, but that's by and by. When looking at these statues, it is useful to have in the background the question, what quality or arts or skill were these people trying to cultivate?